Most developers and real estate investors start with the money, right? They start with a spreadsheet and they analyze the money of a potential project and they solidify that idea. And then they go and they try and find a place to force that down, right? So they start on the wrong side of the pyramid, as we say, where it's the money, then it's the product type, then it's the construction and manageability, then it's the resident, and then it's the community, all the way up at the top. And by the time they get all the way up that pyramid, there's nothing left for the resident and the community. We turn it upside down, and the community is our base. The resident or the user, the office user, the retail user is the next most important thing, right? And then the product type, and then the money, right? So the interesting thing is if it's an inverse pyramid, the money grows as you start with a proper base. When as you if you start the wrong way, with the money being the importance, the whole thing shrinks to nothing.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chatting with, Michael McLean, who is an impact developer and consultant focused on unique, opportunistic investments that build wealth while building community. So excited to have you here today, Michael.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, I think our listeners are going to take something away from how you're approaching your unique community development. So let's dive in. First off, for those who are not yet familiar with you and your work, can you share what your main focus is?
So we are primarily developers, value add developers, and municipal consultants. So we do a lot of ground up development. We do a lot of building renovations and adaptive reuses. More recently, we've started helping municipalities, institutions figure out what to do creatively with their underutilized or unutilized assets. And there are a lot of them out there. And right now it's pretty critical that they figure out a solution, because a lot of traditional funding sources municipalities lived on are dwindling. And it's a pretty unique little aspect of our business that's been growing recently. But we're headquartered in Chicago. We're generally Chicago-centric, Midwest-centric, and stretch through New York, where I was born and raised, and have partners and family who are doing similar work in the New York metro and upstate region. So it's really the Great Lakes stretch, the old Rust Belt is where we focus.
Awesome. And how did you get started as a developer and decide to have your specific focus with the community aspect?
I got started as a developer because my father is a subcontractor and has been my whole life. And he and my mom agreed to let me work for him so that I could learn the value of an education and not go into construction and development. And it completely backfired on them. I fell in love with it. I've been doing it since I was in undergrad. I'm working with him in construction and then growing that into real estate along with my twin brother. Um, and we've been doing it ever since. I'm 49 years old. I'm about to hit 30 years in this business. It's kind of crazy to think about, but it's something that I've just loved to do and never looked for anything else.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Awesome. And you mentioned that you do things a bit differently with more of the community-led focus. Can you expand on what that looks like?
Yeah, so most developers and real estate investors start with the money, right? They start with a spreadsheet and they analyze the money of a potential project and they solidify that idea and then they go and they try and find a place to force that down, right? So they start on the wrong side of the pyramid, as we say, where it's the money, then it's the product type, then it's the construction and manageability, then it's the resident, and then it's the community, all the way up at the top. And by the time they get all the way up that pyramid, there's nothing left for the resident and the community. We turn it upside down, and the community is our base. The resident or the user, the office user, the retail user is the next most important thing, right? And then the product type, and then the money, right? So the interesting thing is if it's an inverse pyramid, the money grows as you start with a proper base. When as you if you start the wrong way, with the money being the importance, the whole thing shrinks to nothing. And that's not to say that the typical development model isn't successful. It is obviously successful, but it is not necessarily resilient, and it is not adding regenerative factors to our communities to fully improve them and improve the appreciation and long-term value of the assets. So it's a little bit different approach. We get to know communities first, and then we decide how we can be a beneficial part of it. We have lots of inside knowledge by that point because we become a stakeholder in the community, and we're able to design and develop much more resilient, effective projects that can live through pandemics and recessions and government changes and all the rest of it because they're anchored in the real fundamentals of the community, not just how much I think I can sell it for at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Can you maybe give an example of one of these projects that you have implemented?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a project called Mural Park. It's a Class A loft office conversion project in a neighborhood called Pilsen in Chicago. It's historically a Hispanic community that was employed by the lumber industry on the south side of Chicago. Now, the lumber industry left many years ago, and the community struggled to reestablish itself as an employment base. And the result was generations of struggle, crime, and poverty, but also an entrepreneurial spirit that lifted it back up. And we were invited by friends who grew up there to come and spend some time in the neighborhood. There wasn't much development going on. There was almost no office or anything commercial other than small local businesses. But those were thriving. So we did get to know it, and we found out by one of the bigger anti-development groups that we were getting to know, that 12,000 out of 13,000 people in this community had to leave every day to go to work. And through as a sociologist, I recognize that that's the core fundamental problem that's causing the historic businesses, the bakeries, the shops to go out of business, is because all of these dollars are now going to the Loop, the South Loop, other neighborhoods because they're commuting there. So we said, well, let's focus not on residential, but focus on bringing jobs back to the community so more people can walk to work. And we ended up getting some significant support around the neighborhood and ultimately developed two 100,000 square foot loft office buildings that are over 100 years old, but now they're Class A. And during the pandemic, we signed 150,000 square feet of office leases, right? During the pandemic. I mean, I'm talking about 2020, right? Um, the building was thriving. Now, w- we are now hitting some speed bumps with the new administration in Washington, who cut a lot of funding for not-for-profits, who were very attracted to the neighborhood because the people that worked for them lived there, and the people they serviced lived there. Leasing has slowed, but because of the resiliency that was created through the community engagement, we now have other focus groups of tenants that are popping up, lawyers, immigration lawyers, other service entities that want to now closer to their clients, and get out of the loop and the core business district, which isn't offering them or their clients anything special, anything good, especially since these cities have not really recovered their lifestyle since the pandemic. We're starting to, but we still haven't gotten there. So the project continues to show its resiliency, continues to succeed and attract different tenants because it's aligned with the community that we developed it in.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible that you were able to build in that way. What do you feel are some of the main keys that have allowed your business to be able to grow and to run smoothly?
So one of the things that we're just very disciplined in is location. All right, as I indicated earlier, we only develop in locations that we really get to know. Right? So we know the community really well. We know the dynamics. We know the fundamentals. We know the locations and where's Main Street. Where's the corner of Main and Main? Where's that perfect location for what's needed in this community, right? So we can align the needs and the location and the community input to have a celebrated and successful project. It really gives us an advantage long term and there's nothing wrong with the bigger guys that do student housing, and they will go anywhere and everywhere that can plunk down a student housing apartment building as long as there's more than 30,000 kids in the college, right? There's nothing wrong with that model. It works and it's repeatable. It's not necessarily regenerative, and we see struggles in the student housing markets now because of overbuilding and misplacement, and self-storage constantly goes up and down and up and down, and these these more commodity markets where everybody's building the same thing in Austin and Atlanta, where they really can't sustain the markets. We don't have that issue because we're not competing in markets where everybody's trying to build the same thing for the same institutional partners.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good differentiator. And what are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next?
So we are really focused on the Great Lakes. We believe that climate migration is a real thing that people are underestimating. Economists and demographers are saying, "Oh, it will gradually, kind of slowly go up," and but that's not the way real demographic shifts work. If you look at really in history, they happen in waves, like big waves. And we've got cities that want to grow. Milwaukee's calling for 1 million more residents, right? Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Ohio are all upzoning all their properties to spark major development. Rochester, Syracuse, and Buffalo are the hottest housing market in the country right now. People have recognized a higher quality of life, a lower cost of living, and the ability to work remotely or within their communities that really work well for their lifestyles. And younger generations are very different than older generations in their desire to experience the best possible lifestyle while they're in a location, and the ability to move around from that location and go to other places to experience high quality of life. So that's really where we believe the Great Lakes come in. There aren't the natural disasters. There aren't the economic hardships, like, where cost of living is way out of whack with wages, right? We have the infrastructure, the transportation, the water, seasonal weather. It all works, right? Because it was all built 100 years ago to work for 200 years, right? So that's really what we're excited about, and we've got developments going through the Northeast, from Chicago to Cleveland, to Rochester. We're now looking in Providence, Rhode Island. We're active in downstate New York, where my brother's headquartered, on Long Island and Westchester. So it's that strip that really gets us excited, because the communities are there, the desire is there, the quality of life is there, and the employment is there, right? The true fundamentals of real estate are there. And it's not just for the wealthier classes that can afford the highest rents. It's for, lots of different people that all can get what they need out of it.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's important to support those infrastructures. And are you partnering with investors on these projects, or what does that look like?
So we've done billions of dollars worth of development with big institutional capital, big investment banks and whatnot. Um, and some of the projects that we do are large enough that we need that. So they're, $100 million projects. We need big institutional capital behind us, but we prefer to work with smaller groups, family offices, high net worth individuals. We've crowdfunded a few times. We're looking at tokenization as a long-term, kind of research project where we can anchor a token to real assets, real estate, which allows us to then spread that to tenants, and allow renters to start gaining some equity through being good residents and good neighbors, and sort of experiment a bunch with, modern era cutting edge type of finance. But we're constantly on the lookout for new partners and new investors, and we've crowdsourced and we've created our own funds. And each location does have its own nuances of attracting people. When you say Cleveland to a big bank out of New York, they don't get too excited. You say Rochester, New York, which is only 3 hours from Manhattan, right? They don't get too excited. They want the sure bet. Everybody else is in the market. I'm going to be in the market. I'm going to sell my competitor. I'm going to buy from my competitor, kind of markets. We're not in those types of markets generally. And even Chicago, for a number of years now has suffered politically, a reputation of crime and taxes primarily, and has a severe lack of institutional players. What this does is it provides a lack of competition. So there's no capital being deployed, but there's still great fundamentals and great demand. So when you have a demand outweighing supply, you have big returns, right? Building new construction to 10 caps, right? And I don't care what the interest rates are. You can build an apartment building with 10 cap, you're making money, right? Like, especially when you look at long-term wealth accumulation. So that's really where we're going. We are super flexible with the way we fund things. We are really always excited to get to know new partners and really help incorporate their visions, because many investors have ideas and opinions. Otherwise, they wouldn't have money to be investing, right? But real estate doesn't allow for much participation a lot of the time. But we like to meet investors that can be accretive to the process, that are in Cleveland, that are when we're building in Cleveland, right? That are in Chicago when we're building in Chicago. No one knows Chicago like Chicagoans, right? Nobody loves Chicago like Chicagoans. And it's the best opportunity to really partner with and align the development, the investment, and the investor with the community so that you have a perfect alignment. And you don't, if something does stumble in the economy or whatever, that you don't have just the bottom fall out, right? Everybody's still aligned if you set it up at the beginning of the day, right? Um, so that's really kind of where we're focused. It's very difficult to raise money that way. We're basically starting over every time we do it, and we're trying to resolve that by getting some more programmatic investors that are aligned with the ideas. But people have been so distracted with federal politics, local politics, inflation, right? I mean, that it has not been an easy time coming out of the pandemic to really create this. But we're finally getting some momentum, and we're really starting to line up some new projects here in Chicago and elsewhere.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. So when you finish the development, do you like hand off the project to like a team, or what does that like system look like?
So we're generally not property managers. We can and will when it's necessary, but we prefer to find the local experts. So we want the local expert leasing team. We want the local expert management team, the people that are on the ground every day with a big staff and great track record, who meet the culture that we want to create. So we did that with our assisted living that we entitled and developed, and we have a great partner, Solaris Senior Living, who's the operator, but also a partner who was and AEW, who was our institutional equity partner. Yeah, with the three of us aligned to really create the vision for this project. And so when I'm done with the construction and development side of it, I can hand it smoothly over to a partner who's been involved from the beginning, right? In order to make sure that transaction happens really, really well. And that truly Evanston, which is a luxury assisted living in downtown Evanston, one senior housing project of the year in 2023, is going really well and work. It's an example of that working really well. Now, Mural Park, the office project, has struggled we've struggled to be satisfied with a property manager. We just didn't feel like our tenants were getting enough attention. So we actually took it over ourselves, and we are now the primary property manager for that office project to ensure the quality that we expect.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. So before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to reach out, connect, learn more, where can people find you and connect with you?
LinkedIn is a great asset that I use a lot. I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn. On our website, condorpartners.net, you'll find my email and I think my phone number. Feel free to reach out either of those ways. And I hope to hear from people. We love meeting new people and expanding our network and seeing what we find out, because many times we find new communities by people asking us to come visit them. So let's go.
Perfect. Appreciate your time and your story. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And for the listeners tuning in, if you got value, make sure that you subscribed. We've got more conversations with operators like Michael who are building real businesses, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.